Ball State Sports Links Driven is proudly presented by Stoops Automotive. Online at stoopsauto.com.
There are some words that really describe who I am and have certain meaning to who I am.
A follower. She's always been a leader.
Actually, I've learned a lot from her, from being a kid. We've reached the finish line of the 2015-2016 academic school year, so it's time to celebrate the best of the best this year in Driven. It's Driven presented by Stoops Automotive alongside Allison Luthman. I'm Connor Onion. Allison, how about first? We start on the soccer field.
Well, throughout the year, I Play For You has helped us get into the minds of our athletes. Here's one of our favorites featuring Chelsea Swackhammer.
As a kid, you're told to dream big. And that's what I did. I worked for it. I competed for it. I earned it. Playing at a Big Ten program, I knew my dreams were achievable. But life takes unexpected turns. Turns that made me struggle. Turns that made me better. But I never stopped working from achieving my dreams. But now this team is part of my dream. Who knows what the future holds for us? I can lead this team to achieve all of our dreams. With this team, anything is possible. I'm Chelsea Swackhammer, and I play for you.
Bradley Ridge's two biggest passions are his Jewish faith and also swimming. This past winter in Chile, he got to combine those two passions as part of Team USA at the Maccabi Games.
Life can go in certain ways and it can go up and down, it can fluctuate, but swimming's always been there for me. And so is Judaism, and so is Team USA for that matter. No matter what's going on in my life, I can always go to the pool, I can always work out, I can always make sure that I get out what I put in. It's always there for me, it's always dependable.
He tried basketball and soccer and ice hockey even, and he didn't have good hand-eye coordination, so those type sports just didn't appeal to him.
And then, we entered this neighborhood swim league, like after swim lessons, and I started to enjoy it, really started to feel like I was a part of a team for the first time. That's where this whole thing started. My father's family is Catholic. My mother's family is predominantly Jewish. Growing up, I was exposed to both religions. And when I was about 13 or 14, our parents said, we're not going to force you to be a part of either one of these activities, but if this is something that you want to encounter and something you want to feel, my sister and I both chose to go to religious school, and a couple years later we became bar and bat mitzvahed, and it's still a part of our lives today. The Maccabi Games started years and decades ago as a way to celebrate not only American but international Jewry, mainly to celebrate God and faith and religion through competition. And that's when I realized this was a way I could not only represent America but kind of this religious body that I've been waiting to represent my entire life. I emailed the coach, emailed the team, made it clear that I'm a passionate, driven individual, and I hope to accomplish something great at these events. I got an email saying, welcome to Team USA, and that was my entire world that day. It didn't matter what else happened. I made Team USA. My grandmother passed away last winter, and it was a hard time for me because it was just a few weeks before our conference championship meet. And I had to watch her lose touch with the world around her, and that was almost unbearable for me to see. Seeing a relative that has shown you the world lose touch with her own is one of the hardest things that I've ever witnessed. And then MAC was coming up. I knew our conference championship was important, and I'd been working my butt off all year, and I told my coach, things are hard, but the pool's my escape. And that, to this day, has kind of been a defining moment, that talk with my coach. That's when I started training my butt off. Last year was the first year where I put my head down and the results came in, and that's kind of allowed me the opportunity to represent Team USA. What I'm trying to prove to myself and the people around me that I can do is achieve what I set my mind to achieve. Because when I was little, I never thought I could.
Really, and looking at it in whole was really what made me proud that, you're going, you're representing the USA, you're helping out in local communities.
He's never shied away from the fact that he's Jewish. He's stood up for who he is. I couldn't be prouder. I mean, he's worked really hard for a really long time at this.
I kept telling myself, I didn't make it this year, but that doesn't mean I'm not good. I'm just not good yet. I'm here, I made it.
And for the last time, it's time to take a look at what's tripping in Ball State sports. Up first, we have one of the newest members of, and the second Cardinal to join, the New Orleans Saints.
It's been quite a swap between the Ball State Cardinals and the New Orleans Saints over the past year. So Willie Snead goes down there and plays in the NFL in his rookie season and tears it up. Now Jordan Williams, a wide receiver alongside Willie Snead, and Mike New, of course, comes up and is now the head coach of the Ball State Cardinals.
All right, and Connor, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like this is the last time and every time Natalie Fontaine is featured in this segment on the show.
Yeah, it'll sure be tough to replace her. It'll be a collective effort next year. She got better each year from her freshman season. The native of Stockholm, Sweden, will go back overseas to play professionally, and I think we can expect her to have a long career at the professional ranks.
All right, now tell us a little bit about the next one. Women's tennis is making school history.
Well, they won the MAC tournament and the regular season title. Well, a lot of that had to do with Carmen Blanco and Peyton Gallhofer. They were both named to the All-MAC tournament team as Blanco was named the MAC MVP. And in the 3 years under head coach Max Norris, they've made some significant improvements. As last year they made their first MAC title appearance. This year they capped it off with their first MAC ring.
And another icon for Ball State, Denasia Christian.
Yeah, we've talked about her a lot on the show, haven't we, Allie? Her third MAC floor title this season, her first on vault. She went to regionals after the MAC championships in Iowa City on April 2nd, and she tied for first on the floor with a 9.800. That's just come to be expected from Denasia Christian, but she's perhaps the best athlete to ever wear the cardinal and white leotard.
And lastly, our very own Ball State Sports Link.
Yeah, you look at the numbers there, the awards, the hours of content that Ball State Sports Link has produced. Also on social media, over 1 million impressions. It's been a lot of fun here in this 2015-2016 year, and that graphic is to show just how special of a year it's been.
All right, some stories are so good, you just have to watch them twice. The story of Denasia Christian is one of those.
Hi, my name is Denasia Christian from Roanoke Academy of Gymnastics in Southwest Roanoke, Virginia. I'm a fifth-year level 10 and an 11th grader at Patrick Henry High School. I'm hoping to further my gymnastics career on a collegiate level.
I didn't really know that I would get as good as I did.
She's not a follower. She's always been a leader.
Actually, I've learned a lot from her, from being a kid. And even now, it's just being strong, being determined, being fearless.
I know in club, everyone's like, you don't understand your potential. To me, it was like, I'm just flipping, like that's all. And then once I got here and it started being like more of a team thing instead of I'm just doing it because I like it.
She's very bouncy and had a ton of potential. I don't know that she really understood, and most freshmen, when they're coming in, it's difficult to find a freshman that really understands how to harness that potential and really be just a competitor from day one on all 4 events.
That's where a lot of my improvements came in, and me actually, I guess, meeting that potential that everyone had been talking about my whole life kind of fell into place. My mom was and is active duty in the Marine Corps. She went in when I was about 2 or 3 years old. So because of that, I was raised by my dad, and I saw her maybe like once or twice a year.
I'm the postal finance officer / the postal chief, so I'm in charge of the whole operation. It's just basically what you would do at a regular post office, but we're just the military side of the house. I would go home like 72 hours or 96 hours that we would have. Sometimes I would be able to take leave.
I did have help from her grandmother, which kind of balanced that out.
Since it was kind of always like that, I was used to it. So I mean, like Mother's Day or like holidays, I might be like, oh, I wish she was here, but I don't think it was like a too overly emotional thing.
Not being able to be there for her meets and things like that. I always watched it when she sent me the link on the internet.
When she started gymnastics, I saw the potential there, but she's always bouncy, running fast. She was as fast as a rabbit.
I don't want to say I was a hyper child, but I was a very active child.
She's always been like that. I mean, her grandmother, even when she was just starting to walk, said she would be a gymnast, and look, here she is.
My first impression of Denasia when I got here was just raw talent, just an incredibly talented young lady.
She's a little firecracker. I mean, you can never tell when she's tired. She always has that extra power and effort. So I just think all around she's a little spunk.
My mom being active duty and like moving all the time and being in Japan and being in Iraq and stuff, she's actually only seen me compete once ever, and that was in level 9, so maybe when I was like, I'm not even sure what age that was, but in high school she saw me compete one time. But my dad, obviously because I lived with him, he was the one I traveled to meets with. He's at every meet.
I'm glad to actually be here for one of her meets. When she was back in club gymnastics, we were there. I was there all the time. But we'll actually get to see her compete and be in the environment, and especially at our home school.
It's going to be super emotional because it's like the end of my last season of gymnastics, my family's there. It's just going to be like really incredible. I get all like teary-eyed just thinking about it because I'm just really excited. Like it's going to be awesome.
Sending us to the anchor on floor for Ball State. Denacia Christian trying to seal the first conference win of the year for Ball State. A senior.
Preparing for her final pass. Round up back handspring double tuck. Huge, great landing.
The senior on senior day, Denacia Christian, a two-time MAC floor champion, and the anchor spot, all the eyes on her, and none more important than those set of eyes right there, her parents.
This like sounds so cliche, but I feel like I want it to be more than just me. Like we talk a lot about like turning this program around because a lot of the other MAC schools are like, it's just Ball State. I want all the articles about how Ball State was winning and stuff like that rather than Denacia Christian won floor, because it doesn't matter if I won floor and we lost that meet.
She's awesome. I'm interested to see which way she goes. It's a blank slate, you know what I'm saying? It's there for her to create.
Don't back down, because like you really don't know how much you can do until you actually do it.
I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. Every struggle you face, you're gonna see it in life, whether you're working or where you're on the other end of the world. Just keep doing what you're doing and believe in yourself and never doubt yourself.
Ball State men's basketball manager Devin Ely has a condition where he has an underdeveloped spine. Yet he was part of the backbone of a team that won 21 games this year and went to the quarterfinals of the CIT. Each day, he lives with the motto, 3 words: compete, give, and inspire. That, Devin does.
There are some words that really describe who I am and have certain meaning to who I am, but there are other words that have no effect on me. Three words that I live by every day is compete, give, and inspire. I came from a small town called Pittsburgh, Ohio. Really small town, really close-knit community. No matter if it was academically or if it was in sports, everything had a meaning to it because people around you, they genuinely cared about you and your well-being.
It was a good community, very loving, very supportive of Devin. Everybody let him try everything and included him in everything.
I have a support system in my family, and I have a support system in my friends that they lift me up, and in my community as well. They lift me up, and they're my crutch, to where if I fall, they're going to help pick me back up. They're not going to let me fall.
Devin has spina bifida occulta. They took us down to Children's and they diagnosed him down there 3 days after he was born. There was a cord wrapped around his spinal cord. A tethered cord is what they call it, and it was restricting the nerves to go where they needed to go. All of that happened while pregnancy. It was very hard, first-time mother.
I remember I want to say it was a full-length cast, a body-length cast, came up to about my chest. And I remember saying, I want to be up, I want to be doing something. I remember coming home and saying, hey, I want to play baseball, I want to go out there. We needed to find an easier way and make an adaptation to where I could play.
We had a couple. That was his coach, Mike and Carrie Fitzhands, and they took an old crutch of his and welded it and put a T-ball bat on one end and basically made it into a crutch bat. And he would hit, swing with one hand, and then put it down and run.
My parents were just thinking how he's gonna hit it and then go get his crutches and go run to first base. And my grandpa had the idea to make a contraption.
Really, it was until about the time I got to about 5th grade And that's when I slowly had to stop playing. And at the time, I was kind of looking like, okay, what am I going to do? And that's when I became an ambassador for Children's.
My name is Devin Neely. I live in Arcan. Last year, I was chosen to be one of the ambassadors of Dayton Children's Medical Center. I feel very honored that I was chosen to represent all of the kids at all of the children's hospitals in Ohio. Thank you so much, Children's Miracle Network.
Being selected, it gave me a chance to see so many people who were worse off than I was. I knew what I had and I knew what I was going through, but seeing what other people were going through and seeing the impact they could make on my life was just really eye-opening, I would say. I always had a love for sports, and it was like, well, I'm away from sports right now, and I just don't like that. So kind of going through my 6th grade year, I kept having one of my best friends, Travis, he kept coming up to me saying, Dad, come manage for us. I remember sitting with my grandpa at supper one night, and he told me a story about how he had been a manager in high school, and he said it was some of the greatest times of his life. I look back, and that's when my life really changed. Start managing basketball and never look back.
It was Arcanum and FM, and it's a big rival, but a good rival. They're two wonderful communities that came together in several instances for Devin throughout his life, and was very thankful that it was that game.
I remember kind of going in, normal game day stuff, I got my shirt and tie on, I'm dressed up. I always said shirt and tie, that's dressed for success, we're ready to go. I remember Coach kind of coming into the door at the gym and going, hey Dev, he goes, come here real quick, we need to talk to you. He takes me back in, we go into the locker room, and I remember looking up and I see 52 hanging on one of the lockers. He goes, what's your thoughts on getting in tonight's game? And I remember my first thought going, man, like you're joking, like this is something I've dreamed about, like, no, I'm not gonna really think this is actually happening.
Just before the game, our pregame talk, Coach Myers told us that he was going to be dressing, and if the time came, he could get in.
Coach is drawing up something, and I'm kind of just looking around, wandering my eyes around, just taking it all in, and Coach looks and goes, so Dev, you know what you're doing? I was like, what? Wait, what are we doing? And he kind of went back through and he's like, you get the shot. As I'm walking out on the court, the standing ovation, it just made me realize what I've done to this point has impacted so many people.
2 teams to help him walk, and he is wearing a uniform tonight in the number 52. And he checked into the ball game. SM with the basketball. They're going to get to Ely on the block.
Missing the first shot and hearing everybody kind of going,
oh no, but keep trying, I guess, and he got another chance.
Rebound, Franklin Rowe. Ely second.
I knew right away, as soon as I looked at Coach Myers in the eye, I was like, I got to give this guy a hug. And I remember kind of tearing up in that moment. I had been dreaming about that moment for more or less since I started managing basketball.
The game ball goes to number 52.
It overcame every aspect of what I dreamed of.
Devin inspires a lot of people around this community. He is my biggest hero. He's gone through a lot, and he doesn't show anything for it. I mean, he works hard.
With being a manager in college, it was kind of one of those that started coming late my senior year. I had called to the basketball office here the summer going into my freshman year. I kind of more or less said, I have an interest in managing basketball. I want to be around the game. I've been around the game for so long, and it means so much to me that I don't want to be away from it. My ultimate goal is I want to coach. I have such a passion for the game. Learning from a great coaching staff, it's an opportunity looking back a couple years ago I never thought I'd have. The hardest part of having spina bifida for me has been realizing there's some things that I don't have the ability to do. When people say, oh, well, you have a handicap. No, I'm handy capable. I can do things. I can just do things in a different way than you do them. Basketball means a lot to me because it's given me a chance. Whenever I pick up a basketball, I just look at it and I always say, like, this is just a breed of life. It really is. It's what I am today. It's what I'm going to be in the future. It's just what I love.
We'd like to thank everyone for all year long. It's been a blast to have you with us.
Yeah, that's a wrap for the 2015-2016 Best Of. It's been fun all year long alongside Allison Luthman. I'm Connor Runyon, our executive producer, JC Obringer as well. Thanks for watching Ball State Sports Links Driven, presented by Stoops Automotive.